When you stop chasing the wrong things, you give the right things a chance to catch you. Lale Daskal. And my friends, that's what we try to do here every day, is instill in you what the right things are so they can catch you. And the right things are not what the financial press is saying, not what you're hearing on the television, the radio, reading. The only thing that matters in this world of stock charting is price movement. That's what counts. And the most important thing are the weekly vertical crossovers that we harp on again and again and again. Why? They work. They are when the price percent oscillator crosses over the red signal line. It shows you when there is a huge change in investor sentiment. When that flips over up or down, it shows you that something big is happening in the marketplace. It gives us great jumping in points to ride to a profit. And let's jump in and see what's going on. We see pretty much everything up for the day. The only thing down, bonds. Let's jump into the S&P 500 on the weekly chart. By the way, we're closing out this week the Accelerated Market Mastery course, that 3-month intensive. We hope it'll save you 5 to 10 years of hard work by giving you the skinny on what counts when it comes to charting options and creating your own virtual personal wealth fund, your own little mini hedge fund that you learn to manage and run. That's the bottom line of what we're doing. You're interested? You better jump in quick because it is almost full. It is filling up. It will close out this week. Email us cw@chartingwealth.com. Follow the link in the show notes. You'll see a video about the course. Now, look at how this week is already shaping up. A big green up candle, up 1.54%. We see the price percent oscillator heading up. Derivative oscillator continuing to lose. Remember, derivative oscillator is our leading indicator. Price percent oscillator is our lagging indicator, but it's the most important one. And it is going up along with the Heiken Ashi candlestick. Prices above that 2-day trend line. Still below the weekly. We'll redraw that at some point, but it is heading up, which is great. The weekly vertical crossover course still in effect. Are we going to have a 2-day recross that gives you a jumping in point? May be happening. Now remember, the one that we have right now represents Monday. It will finish on Tuesday. Maybe if there's enough up movement, it could cross over going up. Don't know if there's going to be enough up movement for that to happen, but it might be. And then we'll see what the trajectory is. Remember, we saw everything falling off and sliding sideways. We're going into now 3 days of up movement. We'll see how the week continues. Just because things happened on Monday doesn't mean the next 4 days are going to make this a green up candle. This is just the first day of the latest. Wait a second. This is the first day of the weekly candle, and this is the first day of the latest 2-day candle. So we'll watch, wait, and see how the week continues to develop. We look at the half-day chart. That, of course, crossed over going up in the afternoon last Tuesday, and it's pretty much been going up ever since. Slowed down a little bit on Thursday afternoon. Remember, we had a shortened week, didn't have a Friday because of the holiday, but we see things continuing to bump up. Now, check out the Qs. Check it out, up 2.46%. That's the Nasdaq 100, the tech stocks, and we see them a-booming. Look at the first day. It looks like a full weekly candle. It is a big old candle moving up. Just the first day of a 5-day candle. Price percent oscillator heading up. Derivative oscillator just about flat there. Yeah, just about flat. It had been going down. We go to the 2-day. And of course, first day of this latest 2-day candle, a-booming above the weekly trend line. And of course, what do we have happening? We have that 2-day recross. We'll keep an eye on things. You might have a jumping in point, depending on how the markets look tomorrow and again, it's not as good as a weekly vertical crossover, not as safe as a weekly vertical crossover typically is, but you may have a jumping in point for more up movement if indeed that candle closes. Now we go to the 4-hour chart up in the morning. Looks like it hit a high in the morning, 258.93 and 258.55. So it did hit the high in the morning. little bit back in the afternoon. So again, just a booming there. We leave stocks, we go to bonds. What do we see there? Well, bonds are still in a confirmed down move. We've had a few weeks of things trying to peak up. When we look at the high, 164.30, we hit 165.32, 165.29. So again, got a little above where that big down week was. Sort of peaking up to that, and so far, first day of this latest weekly candle is, of course, a solid red down candle. First we've seen in 4 weeks. Price percent oscillator tracking down, derivative oscillator losing downward momentum. We go to the 2-day chart. Are we going to get a 2-day recross here? Again, first day of the latest 2-day candle, red down candle. Price percent oscillator ever so slightly heading down, derivative oscillator losing upward momentum. Might have a 2-day recross here in the near future going down, so watch that for a potential inverse trade down in the morning, a little bit of a recovery in the afternoon. That's where we are as far as 20-year bonds go. Lastly, we go to gold. Now remember, we had gold sort of fake us out. The first failure we had this year of a weekly vertical crossover, that happened back on the week ending the 5th of June. It crossed over going down and then sort of slid sideways and up, crossed back over going up back on June the 26th. And of course, we have seen things going up since then, up last week and so far this week up again for the day, 0.60%. Price percent oscillator is trying its best to move away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillator gaining some upward momentum. 2-day chart, again, trying to move up. We see the first day of this latest 2-day candle heading up. Price percent oscillator pulling ever so slightly away from the red signal line, and the derivative oscillator heading up. 4-hour chart, trying to cross over, hasn't done that yet, but we'll continue to keep an eye on things. Nice to see gold moving in the right direction. That's where we are as we end the day with our 4 big charts. We're going to also go through Bitcoin, going to go through real estate, and black gold, that is oil, after that weekly vertical crossover this last week. Again, if you hadn't purchased our book, sending out several today. Australia, Canada, England, Thailand, India. We appreciate all of you ordering the books. That second edition autographed copy is available. And also Patreon members, do not forget this Wednesday, 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time, we will have our live call-in session for all of you. Please make sure to send us the questions that you have for that special live training that we do for you, and any ETFs or stocks you're interested in. We'll be happy to look at those for chartability and trackability. Again, we are an education firm. We're not a stock calling service, but again, we want to educate you on the things you are interested in. And closing out Accelerated Market Mastery, check out the video in your show notes. Oh, great training for you today. I really like this one. This one is on all the charts all the time about how multiple time frames are very important for what we do here, how important they are for helping us track and see just what happens. That's your special training. If you're not receiving those special trainings, it means you are not signed up to get our daily market reviews and once a week market review. You can register for free at chartingwealth.com. You get all that information for free every day, all those special trainings. Let's talk about Bitcoin. What do we see with Bitcoin? Up 0.20%. What does that show us as far as the candle for the week? Not much. Looks a lot like a doji. We see the price percent oscillator still heading down. Derivative oscillator still losing upward momentum. 2-day chart, it's trying. First day of the latest 2-day candle after 4 days of strong down movement and then sort of a sideways slide. We see the price percent oscillator still heading down, derivative oscillator losing some downward momentum, but looks like Bitcoin's trying to do what it can until that 2-day crosses over going up. We just don't have anything that we can actually do with Bitcoin. It's good to see that the 4-hour chart's continuing to try to track back up after having gotten hammered down so hard, starting on the 24th, the morning of the 24th of June, until things bottomed out right there by, let's see, the afternoon of Monday, the 29th of June. So July so far has been all right for Bitcoin. We'll just see if things can turn around, if that 2-day chart can rotate over, heading up without that weekly chart crossing over, going down. Now we go to real estate, down for the day, 0.05%. And when we look at the weekly chart, what do we see there? Well, of course, real estate crossed over, going up back in late May, went up for 2 weeks and then sort of sideways and down. Price percent oscillator moving up, derivative oscillator losing upward momentum. Waiting to see if that 2-day chart will cross over, going up. It's a good sign that we have 1.5 candles so far moving up, so 3 days of up movement. Watch potentially for a crossover going up on the 2-day chart. Might give you a jumping in point to practice a 2-day recross on real estate. Learn something from that. Derivative oscillators losing downward momentum. Go to the half-day chart. Up in the morning, bit of a pullback in the afternoon. That's where it lost its momentum. So we'll continue to watch and see how real estate is going to sort itself out. And lastly, we go to USO, up for the day, 0.73%. Remember the weekly vertical crossover that occurred on Friday? Well, it's nice to see that at least it's up 0.75% on Monday. So we'll see how well this tracks for us. Hope that those of you interested in oil are tracking that. Again, price percent oscillator pulling away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillators about flat. Go to the 2-day chart. And again, we see first day of this latest 2-day candle, green open box candle moving up. Price percent oscillator moving up, not super strong, but moving up. And derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. Look at that 4-hour chart up in the morning, not so much in the afternoon, pulling back a little bit, but still into the day up 0.73% for oil. Price percent oscillator heading up, derivative oscillator heading up. So far, so good. That's where we are as we end the day, starting this new, fresh week. God bless you, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.